Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Deal, where we discuss business, entrepreneurship, and commercial real estate. My name is Lacey Labs, and I'm here with Laura Martin, your co-host for this show. Today, we met with Karen Neiderer, Senior Advisor at SVN Latus Commercial Realty Group. Karen has worked in commercial real estate for almost 10 years with a specialty in retail. She has developed key relationships in the business community and shares her insights into how those relationships bring added value to her clients. Tune into this episode to hear more about Karen, the commercial real estate deals she's done, the insights she shares, her future plans in business, and what advice she would give to younger agents. Karen Neiderer, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you. Let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in commercial real estate.
Okay. I kind of fell into it by accident, really. I have always been in sales. I started with, retail sales, managing stores, and then I ended up down in the Baltimore area working for a security company doing B2B sales. Mm-hmm. And a lot of travel, gone a lot, and I decided I needed to be home more and be with my family because I was really missing out on a lot of things. My children were young at that time. So I took a position with a real estate agency, answering phones, believe it or not, and watching what they were doing, and I was really intrigued. And I had all these connections in the Baltimore area, and I was giving them to my broker and getting those connections and sitting back and watching him make the money. And I thought, well, I could do this. So in the evenings, I took my classes up actually in the New Cumberland area. There was a real estate school there, mm-hmm. and I went there in the evenings and took classes, and then went and took my real estate license test, and there I was an agent. So the company that I was working for was a very, very small boutique. It was just a husband and wife team. And I had somebody that knew a larger company. They had connections there. And I went and interviewed, and they were kind enough to give me the opportunity to come and work for them. And that's how I got started. Wow. And it's been, now going on 10 years.
I didn't even know that story.
Yes, that's how I got started.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you into the work and gave you passion for it as you kind of started on this journey? I mean, I think you said you kind of saw your broker making the money on the people, the deals that he was doing with the people that you knew. What about actual real estate deal making has kept you in it for a decade?
Well, I find it's very interesting. It's never the same day. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've always been in sales since the day I graduated. I've always been in some form of sales. Mm-hmm. I found that the real estate world was exciting, and it was new, and it was a good way to make money off of something that you could drive by later and see. You could see what you were doing and how you could help the community. And I was watching all of these new businesses coming in, and and watching the deals being made. And to me, that was exciting, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So how did you kind of get into the retail specialty they have? I mean, in our office, you're known as the retail girl. Yeah. So kind of what got you in that niche?
Right. Well, if anybody knows me, they know I like to shop. So,
that's true.
So retail was the area when I started with the first company that I was with. I kind of was brought in, and I was like, okay, now where do I go? How do I get started here? Mm-hmm. So they had their office set up where they had teams, and there was a gentleman that came and just asked me if I would like to be on one of his listings and would I like to help. And that was how I really got my start in the retail side. It was just where I started, and I enjoyed it. I loved working with the QSRs, the shops, just everybody that was looking for to open up their own business, from someone that was a small business, local business, all the way up to national companies. Mm-hmm. So I found that very intriguing, and that's. I found my niche, and that's where I've been ever since.
Awesome. So in this niche, I know that a big part of your strategy has been also building relationships with other people in kind of tangential business. How have you built those relationships, and how do those relationships help you bring like added value to all the clients that you work with now?
Oh, that's a great question, Lacey. The relationships are so important. They are, if anyone's in the real estate business, it's about your relationships. And having somebody and having other companies that you can feed off of for leads, and that you can help, or that they can help you get your project across the finish line. I do a lot of networking, and when I'm out, I'm looking for people that I can help as well as they can help me. Mm-hmm. I've actually done some partnering up with like Core Design, Realty. I found that in what I do when I'm working with a QSR or, a national company that's looking and they've got a vacant piece of land or a pad site, there was a lot that I didn't know about that what goes into the start and the finish of that building being open for business. So with like Realty and Core Design, they're architects and engineers that were able to teach me and help me through the process, where it gave me the knowledge that I can help my clients know, okay, this is the process, and this is where we need to go to get the answers that we're going to need to be able to find out, will we be able to put that building on that piece of land? Mm-hmm. So having those relationships are so important, and have been very helpful for me to being successful in the business.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, those two in particular seem to be really close relationships for you, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that there's been a little bit of them giving you some leads too, right?
Absolutely.
So how does that back and forth work? You've had some of those relationships for a pretty long time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I can tell you that, I've met a lot of really good contractors through either like Core Design, recommending, some general contractors as well, those national contractors. They've worked with people, and they know who have good reputations. They have, they have a standard, a high standard that they of work, that they do. So, it's been nice that, I've not only gotten the knowledge from them, but they've actually been able to bring me, other people that I can work with. And then with that, like they brought me GCM. And they've been really, really helpful with helping get some projects in and get them done and open within a budget with whatever I've had, and sometimes nowadays the budget's really tight when it comes to building and construction. So with, when I go to them and I'm telling them, oh, we're struggling here trying to find a good quality builder to get this project across the finish line, they've been able to use their resources and their relationships and connections to help us do that.
I actually have GCM pricing a project for you right now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, because of your introduction.
Yeah, very good company, very nice, very professional company to work with.
And you can tell Core is really involved in the retail world, because I met them through you out in Vegas at ICSC.
Yes. They take the time to make sure that they're out there trying to learn what agents have to do and what my job entails. They ask me, they're constantly calling me going, what do you have? And, who are you looking for? Because they have clients coming to them and they're saying, okay, we're looking, we're a school. We're going to do we're trying to open up, schools across, 2 counties. So can you help us? We have this private school. We're looking for sites and we're trying to find out where to put them, but we just don't know where to look. And that's when they pick up the phone, they call me and they're like, okay, we have this client that's looking for, to open private schools. here's the area they're looking at. Can you help us find the locations? So it's been a really good partnership. And I have everybody from, like I said, architects, engineers, contractors to, down to even flooring people, painters. You just never know. Like with build outs, and when we have a national client, or even if we have a local business that's going in and they're looking for someone to even just paint the walls or to help them with the design of their build out of their space, it's great to have those connections, because I'm the first person they're going to ask, who locally can we go to? Do you recommend anyone? So having those relationships back and forth really, really mean a lot.
Yeah.
What do you find are the biggest challenges for you in this business?
I think the biggest challenge in this business is finding, first of all, managing time because it's a very busy business. And I think that managing time, the challenges are out there that, just like I said, building the relationships and, competing against so many other brokers for the same listing. I find that that's a challenge. Just, you really have to work hard to get your foot in the door. Yeah. And then there's so many, other brokerages, and there's good brokerages out there. So, we're one of the top brokerages. SVN has a great, we have a wonderful, I guess, what is that called?
Reputation.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So we're really, really good at what we do. So getting our name out there and having people understand, at least to give us an opportunity to talk with them and give us a chance is probably the biggest challenge that I think that I have today.
And I think, back to zoning, there was a bank with a drive-through that was for sale that I thought would be a great QSR, but zoning did not allow that. It couldn't be a fast food. The other thing I think is prices. I think in retail have gone up from what I've seen for land, for construction. I think it's harder to make a deal happen.
Absolutely. And with the pricing going up right now, as far as and especially with anything with a QSR, they want drive-throughs. And currently right now, some townships have restrictions on drive-throughs. So you might find a bank sitting there, but that bank's grandfathered in for a financial institution only. Right. So I think with that, what the challenge is there is getting the townships, to kind of catch up to where we are today. We are currently with COVID, everybody wants a drive-through. Right. So, you have a perfect drive-through sitting there, and we can't utilize that drive-through because, it's a restaurant instead of a financial institution. So I think that's very, very challenging. And like I said, once we get purchase the property, then we've got fit outs to do. And, the cost of goods to do that currently right now is extremely high, like you said. So that is a really big challenge, trying to find the right location, for a client within their budget. And a lot of the national, the QSRs, they have their plans and they have their performers that they have to meet. So they will tell a franchisee, this is as high as you can go on if you're leasing. This is the highest.
I guess, for success rate, right?
Right, exactly. So when you're going in and you have, say, an $80,000 budget and they're asking $140,000 for that lease, it's really hard to try to get that done. So you're trying to, everybody's trying to say meet in the middle, and you're going back and forth between corporate and the landlord, trying to get that deal done and get it across the finish line. And sometimes we're able to do that, and sometimes we aren't. So and then we're moving on, trying to find another location for the client.
And sometimes that's challenging too, because the national QSRs tell you, the demographics and the certain things they want.
Definitely.
So it's interesting to try to find that sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. The I mean, it goes down to rooftops, to traffic counts, to incomes, to, male or female. I mean, depending on what type of, client you're working with. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into, finding the right location. So sometimes it can be a challenge. You can not always find everything that they're looking for. So you try to find out what's their top priority, and that's what we try to focus on if we can't meet everything.
So we're talking a lot about national retailers, and I think early in the conversation we mentioned something that we all know what it is, but I think our audience might not. So Karen, tell me a little bit, because you go to this event. What is ICSC? And how does you being part of ICSC benefit your clients and in general, even our region?
Okay. So ICSC is where you bring landlords and your retail landlords and your franchisees and clients together. It is huge. The one I always attend is in Vegas, and it is, oh my goodness, just thousands and thousands of people, vendors, landlords, tenants, everybody goes there, and that's where the business is done. So I know before I go, I always look to see who's there, and you try to set up your meetings with who you'd like to see. Shopping center owners, you always want to try to get to meet them and to know them, so that when you have a client, you already have a good relationship, and you know what shopping center owners are out there and who they're looking for, what type of tenants they're looking for. There's different classes of shopping centers, from your strip centers all the way up to your anchor, which an anchor means like a grocery store, or a large tenant. Is what they call an anchor. A tenant that's going to draw people in. And there's certain tenants that will follow other tenants. So if you have a grocery store, then you know that you're going to find probably a hair salon or nail salon, because the people that are grocery shopping are going to be looking to get their nails and their hair done. So and that ICSC is a great place where you can go and meet the shopping center owners, the new tenants, the new franchises that are coming out. They're there to tell you about what they're doing, and they're looking to try to make those connections with realtors and the agents to help bring us franchisees, help us find the locations that are going to help us expand. So it's a lot in just a couple of days. Laura's been with me. She's gone with me a couple of times, and it's everybody's like, oh, you're going to Vegas, you're going to gamble. No, I'm going to work. There's not a lot of time, and we can account for this. We get up, we go there, and then by the end of the day, we're lucky if we can make it to dinner, and we go and crash.
Lucky to get a meal. In December, we were in New York City for ICSC, which stands for International Council of Shopping Centers. And they have it in Philly, but the two best ones, in my opinion, from going to several, is Vegas every May and New York City every December.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yep.
So we have, if we look around our area, would it be safe to say those kind of expos and events are maybe a reason why we're seeing some newer places? I know Raising Cane's has been a big one that's coming on the pike somewhere. There's a couple others that are kind of southern or not from this area, right? But we see them coming here. Places coming through something like ICSC where brokers here are making those connections?
Yes, absolutely. And that's how I made my connections, with like Slim Chickens and Freddy's Burgers. We're going to be seeing Freddy's Burgers coming to the Lancaster area, where they're working through the township zoning and the planning, but they're working with the Planning Commission right now. But we're going to be seeing, that's how I met them. Met them at the ICSC and started asking, about, do you have a franchisee for the area? And at first they did not. So, I had reached out to them with some names of some people that I knew were looking for some, a new franchise. They already were in the franchise world, but they were looking to expand. So just getting those connections made were, it all stemmed from that show, the ICSC show. So it's definitely why we're starting to see some more of the southern businesses start to navigate and work their way up the coast up and make it to Pennsylvania.
It might even be one of their taglines. I think it's like they say, like, where deals are made.
Okay.
And there are a lot of deals made there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes. It definitely is. I mean, you can have in a day, you could have maybe 5 meetings set up in a day with people that you want to meet and talk with, and those meetings come deals that you can get done. So if you're, and then there's a lot of things in, like dinners that we go to. They have what they call evening parties. They're just like really like networking events that they put on that are by invitation. So you're always trying to meet those people to make sure that you can get into those private events so that you can make the deals with some of like the top companies and the top shopping center owners.
And SVN International will often have a booth, like they'll have one in Vegas where you can have your meetings. So nationally, SVN has a lot of retail work. The other thing is it's allowed you to look at doing national franchises nationally because of the SVN brand.
Oh my goodness, yes. So if you have, SVN has been like just wonderful. The company I worked for prior are very well known, but they are really mostly like central PA. So it really limited me to the Pennsylvania area to getting deals done. So now that I'm with SVN, and I'm very grateful to be a part of the team.
We're glad SVN. You're here.
Thank you. It has opened up the world, the country to me, as well as the whole world. SVN is global. So it has really expanded what I can do and what I can do for my client. And I do have a franchisee that, is started in Pennsylvania, and he's doing work in Texas now. And I'm able to help him do that because we partner up with one of our Texas SVN offices, and they're working great, and they're helping to find the sites as well. And we're able to take that franchisee to the next level and, open up, he's contracted for like say 30 more stores. So it's expanding. So we have the relationship. He feels comfortable with me as his broker and SVN, and he doesn't have to change that to go to Texas. So he's able to stay with who he feels comfortable with and knows where we'll work real hard to get the job done. And we know that we have a good sister company that will take care of him as well as we do here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I was working on an investment sale in Texas. I was amazed how different real estate works there, how different the laws are, how different banking and financing is. So it's so nice to have a partner that can explain all that to you, walk it through with you, and help you. Because states are different, which you don't really expect, but they really are.
Yes. Just their laws with how they operate. It's really nice. I've learned a lot there's a big difference between Texas and Pennsylvania. And the first thing was sticker shock for me and my franchisee. We, and having an agent that is local and there and feet on the ground, is wonderful because they can help navigate what we're used to paying and what the pricing is down there. Right. And they have their connections and their relationships there so we get the benefit of that because they're part of the SVN team.
And like here, it's really hard to find inventory, but I think you're finding off-market deals there because of the people being local and knowing the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Currently right now, I think the top 5 listings that we're bringing to, our franchisee, all 5 of those are off market. Because if they're on the market, you really are going up against, they've been on the market and everybody knows about them. So, those off-market deals are where we're going to be able to get a little bit better value because they have a relationship with, the agent there, and they've worked together before, and they're able to say, okay, well, here's our budget. And a lot of times because of those relationships, they're willing to say, okay, well, we can help out with that. Let's work together, because a lot of times the landlords are looking for good tenants. They're looking for good people and solid people. So if it means, maybe helping on the price a little bit to start to have a really good tenant, and they have that confidence and faith in the SVN agent that they know that they're going to be bringing them someone good. So, and someone that isn't going to be, jumping ship in a year, or, that they can count on.
And a benefit I see from that is that a lot of times we have a great site and there's several QSRs, that are interested. You have to act so quickly, you often miss out. Like we were in a bidding war with a property locally.
Yes.
And so that is a really nice, the best thing I think about off-market things. If it meets all the other criteria.
Oh my goodness, yes. Because, good sites, every franchise out there, everybody's looking for the same thing. So which doesn't help. It helps drive up the price, and it helps, it just makes getting a deal done a lot more difficult when we're doing it. So an off market definitely is the way to go, because you're not competing with all those other people. So I agree with you, Laura. That's a big challenge sometimes.
Yeah, because if you've got the tenant or buyer, sometimes the prices just get ridiculous, like out of control. You can't even, the numbers don't work.
Exactly. And I think that's in commercial real estate, it's mostly about the location and do the numbers work. And if the numbers don't work, then you just have to move on. So
well, what do they say? Location, whether you're residential or commercial.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. So Karen, you said you're about 10 years in, right? What are your future plans in business? What are you hoping to accomplish or see happen as your career continues in commercial real estate?
So, and Laura knows this really well, there is an award that SVN gives. So I always say my goal is I'm getting up on that stage, and that, that's where, they have a criteria of how much you have to sell and, within a year. And, my goal is I'm going to get up on that stage and I'm winning that trip. There is they always pick like these really neat places to go, like Hawaii, and, and you get to take your, spouse or significant other with you to the, on the trip. And that's my goal. I want to make that. So what that means for me is that means to, work smarter, make sure that I'm working with, tenants and, or clients that, are really serious and, in, doing business and doing real estate deals, and making sure that I manage my time and, and just stay focused. I think, making sure when you have that goal, I really want to take myself to the level where, that everybody's proud at SVN to say Karen Neiderer is a part of the team. She's productive. For me, it's about, the people that give me the opportunity, being grateful that they gave that to me. So my goals are to, like I said, to get up on that stage and to go on that trip. That's where I want to go.
And next year's Portugal.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah. So anyone out there that has a deal,
help Karen make it to Portugal.
Yeah, I want to go to Portugal.
Awesome. So a couple questions from your experience, Karen. Now that you have these years under your belt and all these experiences, what are the traits that you see most important in a successful commercial real estate agent?
I think the traits that are most important is, caring about your client, being ethical, and having the hardworking work ethic. I think those 3 traits will help you be successful, because I know that my franchisees, I can honestly say that, and they will say to me, they consider me family. I can tell you, I know about their children. I know about their which ones play volleyball, which ones, are on the softball team, and I think that they know that I care. Because if you care about their success, their success means you're going to be successful as well. So I think those 3 traits are very, very important. And I can honestly say that I really do care about my clients, and I do work hard for each and every one of them. And I want them to, at the end of the day, say, I'm glad I worked with Karen Neiderer. And if they're out and they're talking to someone, word of mouth is, it's my reputation, and word of mouth is the best way to be, successful and to get more clients and more business. So if I work hard and, always have good ethics and do the right thing, and care about the client, I think anyone that does that will be successful in this business.
And I think anyone that knows you knows that's true about you.
For sure. So I think that could answer this question a little bit, but maybe to just have you say it a little more directly to them. We have a couple young agents. You could even speak to the agents in our office if you want to think about it that way, right?
Okay.
What advice would you give to newer agents or younger agents who are just starting out as they're starting their business? You've said what you think the important traits are. Is there any other advice, or would you word that advice differently? You're looking them in the face, you say, hey, what would you do, Karen? What advice would you give me? What would you say to them?
Well, that's great, because I just actually said this to Tiana the other day, is don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask how, when, where, why. Ask. If you don't know something, ask. And one of the things that I think that every agent should do, and especially a young agent coming into the business, is find a mentor, and not just one, find several. Look at who you look at and think they seem very successful. I think they seem like someone that, like they have good success. Like follow them around for a few days, learn from them, ask them to be on your listings, or could you be on one of theirs, so that you can learn from them. And then take the positive and the best qualities from each of those mentors and put it together with your own style and personality. And I think that's what's going to make them successful. And I think don't let fear overtake you. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call, or to say, hey, you're at a party, and start asking those questions about, do you need anything, or how could I help you? And I think the biggest thing is for them too is people love to feel important or special. So if they can give some knowledge to someone that they're talking to, educate them on something that's going on in the area when they're doing their cold calls, it really helps. It makes people feel at ease, and like you're sharing your knowledge with them. And I think that is a great way to make people feel special and want to work with you.
Yeah, great advice, Karen. I love it. Okay, so what advice would you give, change the scope a little bit, to a franchisee or a new business owner or investor who's looking to do their first deal, right? Like they're getting into commercial real estate, not as an agent, but as a buyer or a seller, and they don't know what's going on, right? That this is their first time doing it. What advice would you give them? What should a business owner or an investor specifically be watching out for?
I think that first of all, choose the people that you surround yourself with, and choose good people, ethical people, people that are positive. And then as far as having a good agent and someone that has the knowledge of what they're doing, and that they can help guide you in the right direction. And that may mean like just for utilizing the connections or the relationships that agent has, versus, so if you have someone starting a new business and they're going to have to they're building, getting them those connections and helping and saying, hey, I can help you with that. Having them say, ask the questions, the same thing as you would a young agent. Ask the questions and help. There are resources out there. I just had a small business that is just getting started, and they had they didn't know where to go or how to start. They have a great concept, a wonderful idea, but they don't know how to even be able to lease a space. So I was able to sit down with them. I had, met them for coffee and sat down with them, and I had a list of, places and phone numbers that they could reach out to. SCORE is a good one for a new business getting started. And that's a group. SCORE is a group of like retired business people that volunteer their time, and they help, new businesses get started. They will, from the start of, getting financing and how do you get the money to start to, helping guide them on putting a business plan together. This was a young gentleman that had this idea and he wanted to lease a space, but he's just not quite ready. He needed the help. So I was able to get him with SCORE and get him with in touch with some bankers that were able to tell him, how maybe he could get, a line of credit to help start getting the inventory that he was going to need. And, I did help him a little bit with understanding how the leasing works and how a lease, and how many years is he going to want and what options were. There is a lot to knowing how to start a business and how to open up a retail business, and it's not easy. So I wasn't able to do and lease him a space right then and there that day because he just wasn't ready. But when he is, we've been staying in contact, and I have the perfect location for him to do that. We just got to make sure that he's ready so that he can succeed in the business. And I think for a business owner, finding the people that are willing to help you and give you that knowledge and, take the time out of their day to say, hey, here's some phone numbers, email these people, call these people. They're going to help you get to that point to where you're ready.
Right.
And with helping them do that helps me because he's going to come back to me and say, hey, I'm ready now. And now I know I need a bigger space and to get my business up and running, and I want to double that square footage. So that's, it's putting in a little bit of time up front now will help down the road when they're ready. So I think my advice to business owners is get as much knowledge up front as you possibly can, whether it's on financing and how you're going to finance the property or the business, or even just the location. Find somebody who you feel comfortable with working with, and surround yourself with good core people.
Love it. So that organization is called SCORE, SCORE?
Yes,
okay.
SCORE. And you can Google it, and they have them, I know, in this area, like York has a chapter, Lancaster has a chapter, Harrisburg does. So they have them set up everywhere, and it's free, and they're always have been wonderful. And I'll be honest, they helped me when I wanted to get started, and being an independent contractor, I utilized that and called them, and they were wonderful to help me.
Awesome. I know like a lot of banks will want like a business plan, and they'll help you get that going and show you how to do it. And it's nice because it's free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
And a lot of new business people, they don't even know how to begin with a business plan. They have these great ideas. And it's wonderful. And their end result, they just don't know how to get there. So that's why I think that it's really important to utilize people that are willing to help you get there and to get to their goal.
Great advice, Karen. Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap up with our final question. We ask everybody, right?
Okay.
So if you could go back and start your career all over again, but keep all the knowledge and experience that you have, right? Sounds like a dream position to be in. What would you do differently?
I would get started in real estate earlier. That's the number one. I wish I had gotten into this business when I was younger. And I also wish that I would have understood the concept of not just selling real estate, but actually owning real estate as well, and utilizing the knowledge of what I have as, being able to take and invest the money back into real estate, which is would be investing in my future.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing I've changed. A lot of things I've done. You learn from your mistakes, and it gets you to the point to where, those mistakes make you the person that you are today. Right. But if I could go back and start a little bit earlier in my career, I definitely would have done that.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Karen. Thanks for being on. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and insights. You gave so many helpful tools today, I think, to a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here.
We're glad you're on our team.
Yes.
Thank you. I am too.
That was Karen Neiderer sharing her insights into commercial real estate agent life. For more information on Karen or SVN Latus, click the links in the show notes. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Deal.